welcome, Martha. We're glad to have you home.
I'm thrilled to be here.
So, when you first saw you today, we started to talk about your experience as a young educator here in Lexington. Tell us a little bit about Ashland Elementary and what you remember about those days.
I'll be happy to. When I started teaching, I thought I was teaching a different grade. I found out a week before that I was teaching fifth grade. But I absolutely loved every minute of it. Wouldn't change a thing. And learned a lot about inner city education. And I really think UK prepared me very well. I used a lot of the materials from my methods classes. And one thing that I felt really made a difference in being successful was being able to organize the classroom.
Okay. You know, when we came in, we had a chance to see some of our practicum teachers.
Yes.
How did that feel when you saw those new teachers sitting there and actually talking about the fact that they were going to meet Ashland's principal? How did that feel?
They were so energetic and excited. But I think a lot of the things I learned here helped me really engage with the students so that I felt like we were a team.
You know, and that's so important now that there's often this movement to put teachers in the classroom that are not prepared to interact with students at that level.
Exactly.
And, you know, 99% of districts tell us that they're happy with the training that our students receive. And I always say the other 1% are Louisville fans. So we're just so glad that you had that experience.
Yeah.
You know, things are changing here in the college. They probably changed a little bit in the 50 years since you've been here.
Just a little bit.
And one of our favorite spots now is this auditorium.
Wow.
And, you know, Taylor is one of the old high schools for this town. So as you can imagine, we've had to do a lot of work since this building's 100 years old. But this is the kind of place where we are training teachers to go out and do that important work for communities and for students. So we're so glad to have you back.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here, and this brings back memories of being here. Now, was the lab school, was it here wasn't it in Taylor?
Yes.
Because my cousins went to the lab school. My mom taught in the lab school briefly.
No, absolutely. This is part of the old lab school, and this is the elementary school's stage, and you know, in the back or the school stage. So, and actually, right behind that wall, we're working on a new student activities room. That's one of our projects that alums and the university is helping us to do. So, I know you're interested in student success, and one of the things that we're so proud of is that you've made a commitment to the college to support students in this college. What inspired you to get involved with your alma mater?
Well, I have to say, from the time I can remember, all I heard was UK from my parents because they met here as students and sang I'm on U of K every day. So there was never a question where my brother and I were going to go to college. So I always loved it. But one thing, when my father passed away, he had left a scholarship for engineering students because he taught engineering, and not for the best and the brightest, but for students who'd made the most progress over time. And I loved that idea. And I think that is when I really became very serious about funding some student fellowships. And then in my will, I have a much larger bequest. And I think for others, I mean, it's just a great way to honor an institution that you truly love, is putting something in your will to honor them. So that's probably how I got into it. But, you know, again, it's just an institution that means a lot to me.
No, I absolutely think that that's so wonderful. And, you know, I was really honored to give a scholarship in honor of my grandmother, who was a lifelong educator. So I'm so glad to join you in that work. And we hope that alums are inspired to do that work for students.
Absolutely. And there are so many students that need the help. When I think back, I mean, I graduated in 3 years. Why I was so eager to get out in the world, I'm not sure. I wish now that I'd stayed for my last year.
I think we all feel that way.
I graduated in 3 years, and I think my tuition was like $100 for the 21 hours I took every semester.
Wow.
But now students really are having a rough time doing this. So I just think everything we can do, and again, I think doing something in your will is a wonderful way. You know, if you're not sure exactly how you're going to be with finances during your lifetime, then having it in your will, I think, is a great way to honor the
Wonderful.
institution and honor our students.
Well, let's mosey a little bit
Okay.
down the hallway here in Taylor.
I'm with you.
Now we want to take you into one of our new multi-purpose spaces.
Okay.
And we've emblazoned Kentucky across the wall here. Right now it serves as a waiting area for folks in our new advising center. But once the room is complete, it'll be a multi-purpose space with lounge space, meeting space, technology space. And so one of the things I wanted to ask you about too was how you felt Kentucky prepared you for your stellar career. You've been vice president of Division A. You've been also president of UCEA, which is the large organization of all the universities that train educational leaders, and so many more accolades and presidencies, 300 publications. So what do you think about UK prepared you?
Wow. Well, I just think overall it was just such a wonderful experience, and all of my classes and education, I think, prepared me for wherever I was going to go. Now, I wish I could tell future students that I had this grand plan of going to this and this and this and then becoming a college administrator, but I can't say there was a grand plan. It was all serendipity. I started at National Elementary teaching disadvantaged youth and loved every second, and would, I was telling you earlier, I might have stayed there if UK hadn't tapped me to, because I had student teachers in my class, they tapped me to supervise teacher corps interns. And that started a trajectory of where I went from there. I was recruited from Louisville to be a school administrator, and then this wonderful fellowship came up at the University of Florida. So it just kind of was a lot of serendipity.
So it's snowballed.
It snowballed. And at the University of Florida, I thought, I'm getting out of my comfort zone, away from Kentucky, and this whole new world. 2 people on my committee were from Kentucky. So I couldn't believe it. And one had been in Indiana as a student, and one had been at Indiana as a faculty member, and that's how I ended up there. So everything really just kind of was a little bit of serendipity. And when I talk to students, I say, don't do what I did. Have some goals.
I feel like I tell students that a lot too. Don't do what I did.
Don't do what I did. Have some goals, because I ended up in higher education. And at LMU, I was eligible for early retirement from IU. I wasn't ready to retire, but I had to give up my retirement if I stayed there. And I thought about doing it. And they came to me and said, I've been nominated for this position at LMU. I went out to visit, fell in love, and ended up retiring on June 30th and taking my job in July 1. So I definitely flunked retirement.
I love it.
So that's kind of how I got to where I am.
Are we going to spend some time in the courtyards? So Martha, we are so glad to have you back home. Your 50th anniversary. But not only that, you won the UK alumni, the Distinguished Alumni Award. And so tomorrow is the ceremony. Ashley Judd, I hear, is going to be there. Senator McConnell. It's going to be a really big deal. How does that make you feel? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, well, it makes me feel very humbled and honored and surprised when they told me about it. My college roommate nominated me, and it just came as a huge surprise. And it's particularly meaningful because my brother was inducted in the last class. So I was here for that ceremony, and he's going to be here tomorrow night. So that will be just very special. wish my parents were still around because they were so devoted to UK, and it would have meant a lot to them to know that this was happening. But I'm just humbled and incredibly honored.
If you were going to give a piece of advice to a young educator who is going to teach in a school in Lexington or elsewhere, what would that advice be to get to that place where your alma mater is recognizing a career of excellence?
Wow, I have to think about that. I'm sure I'll think of something later that would have been really sage advice. But the one thing I said often to new teachers is let the students know that you really respect them and include their voice in decisions you make. Once you do that, they will feel like you are on the same side.
So as you come to UK at a time where we were recently ranked in the top 30 among public institutions, our online programs are top 15. Our teacher ed programs have grown by 10%. We've doubled the percentage of students of color in our teacher ed programs in the last couple of years, and that's because of alums like you supporting our work, the work of faculty, the work of staff, the work of students. So we're just so proud to have you come home.
Oh.
We're proud to claim you, and go Cats.
Well, I'm proud to be part of this UK family, and I'm just extremely proud to be an alum, but I'm also proud to be supporting initiatives. And Julian, let us know as alums what things are coming up that are really important to the college, and put out the call and we'll respond.
Well, let's put out the call for this. In 2023 is our centennial. And so we want to welcome you back. There is a time capsule under the breezeway between Dickey and Taylor. So we will open that, and there'll be quite a few more events. So we hope that you'll come back for our centennial in 2023. So you and the other alums, we want to welcome you with open arms in our upcoming centennial year. But for right now, we want to just congratulate you for 50 years. Congratulate you for your UK Alumni Award. We're just so proud of you.
Thank you.